Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vero, and in today's video I'm going to be setting up my bullet journal spreads for the month of June. Unfortunately, you can't tell on camera, but I do have blue eyeliner, and my blue eyeliner is matching my very blue theme for June. And this theme is 100% copied / partially inspired by Dan from the PacificNotation, and I will be inserting pictures of his spreads and where I got all of my inspiration this month. And I'm really excited because it's a very minimalistic, one color only theme, and it's so easy to do, and it was really relaxing. And at the moment, with all the competition and the pressure to have really aesthetic looking pieces on Instagram, I just needed to step back and do a theme that was easier yet still very pretty, that made me feel a lot happier and just a lot more mentally at peace with my themes. So I'm really excited for this theme this month. I really hope you enjoy it. I don't know, it makes me feel really happy. So I hope you enjoy watching along with me.
My June theme is heavily inspired by Dan from the PacificNotation. In some cases, I've actually just copied what he's done, so I'll insert his profile here on the right. And basically it's these kind of abstract-ish lines across the page, not across the page, but like boxes and patterns and everything, and it's just one color. And I thought it looked so cool, so I wanted to try it out and take his style and kind of spin it into mine. I've already traced out with the pencil the different lines that I'm going to take, and I'm just using a Crayola Supertip to go over those lines and just have a very nice I don't know what this style is called, but just to have a nice kind of flow of different squares and everything on the page. If you're interested in drawing out block letters like this, I have a guide down below. You can find the link in my description, and it'll tell you how you can draw these letters with a more specific technique and so that they look a bit more uniform. So yeah, just check in the link down below. I think in total this theme actually took me about maybe 2 hours to draw out, which is probably the fastest theme that I've ever had because it's just lines across a page. So here's a quick time lapse of me drawing out the rest of the lines for my theme, and this is the final. For my monthly log, I was kind of running out of ideas, so before even planning it out on my actual journal, I created this kind of ideas list that you can see on the left, at the top left, and it just kind of helped me get out of my flunk and try and find a couple of ideas of how to do a monthly log that was a bit different from usual. I ended up just kind of using my same style anyway, but at least with the different kind of pattern that I was using, it made it seem a bit different, which was quite nice. So for my monthly log, I connected the title of June with the week headers of my calendar, and I just joined everything together and added some details, and then obviously drew out the calendar. And this turned out so nice. I'm so stoked with how this turned out. I'm just really happy about it. Of course, I apparently forgot to film the detailing, but as you can see in this next clip, I'm just writing out the numbers and everything so you can see what the details look like here. The next spread is the habits tracker, and unfortunately this one is my least favorite of the month, even though I still love the theme. I just wasn't convinced with what I did, but I'm just going to show you how I did it anyway. So I have 3 different trackers for habits. So I have the general ones that you cross off every single day, and then I have 2 graph trackers where I track my steps and my phone use. So I've kind of spread them across the 2 pages in a more abstract kind of way, and I don't think it looks particularly amazing, but maybe once it's filled out it'll look nice. So I guess I'll just have to see at the end of the month. I tried to add in a bit more detail so that maybe it would look a bit more put together, but it just didn't really work because I couldn't draw any big squares because then it would interact with my graphs, so I let it go and moved on to the next spread. My next spread is my 1 line a day and my gratitude log, and this one is 100% copied from Dan from the PacificNotation spread. I'm just going to insert a quick picture here. And I just used washi tape that I had blue washi tape in this case, because there was no way I was going to be able to draw a straight, nice line diagonally across the page. Like, there was just no way. So I just used washi tape and it worked out pretty well. And then I wrote out one line and I wrote out the numbers. So the 1 line a day log is on the top with the journal facing the normal way, and then the gratitude log, I have to flip my journal upside down. I don't know if this was specifically the best idea that I've ever had, but I don't know, maybe it will be nice. So I'm intrigued and curious to find out how that will look like when I've finished it this coming month. My finance tracker is always the same layout. It has the 4 columns and it's like 2-page spread. So the challenge is always how to decorate it in a way that makes it look different. And I think with this new theme, I've done it in a way that is kind of exciting and a bit minimal as well. So I really liked it. I connected the headers of my table with the F in finance to make it look a bit cool, and then I added some details on the bottom of the page, and I think the whole thing put together looks pretty awesome. I love the decorations. This theme is just really, really fun and I'm so thrilled. And for anyone who doesn't know about my finance tracker, I basically split my table into 4 columns, for date and the item, a category and the cost. 5 columns and a tick on the last one. Then at the bottom I do all the totals, and for totals I have the different categories are rent, my phone bill, my metro, my bills, my bank, groceries, art, and a few other things as well. The next page I'm doing is a mix between my growth page and a sort of quote page, and it's not really a quote, it's just my my word of the year, which is the word growth, and I couldn't fit the whole word, so I just wrote grow, and I already traced out all the lines where I want the blue lines to go, and then I'm just going to go over it with a pen. And this page is definitely my favorite of my whole, not exactly, but one of my favorite pages, because it looks so nice with all the lines coming together. And then of course the brain dump on the right, it's just a blank page. So I'm now moving on to my weekly spreads. So instead of doing my usual Dutch doors system, which I'd been doing pretty much for the entire month of February, March and April, I decided to change it up in May, and I've continued to change it up in June. So I'm going for a 2-page spread here, and each week is going to be different, and this first week is inspired by this spread. I'm just popping it up on the right. And so basically it separates the top, so the top is like events for the week, and the bottom is a to-do list and my routine, because I always like to have that in. And I'm going with a sort of clock face font, so you know those digital clocks and how they have the numbers written out like this, so I decided to go for that. And then I wanted to have the sides, both pages, sort of even in terms of the boxes that decorate it on the bottom, but I messed it up, so one of the boxes is different, which I think it looks okay and it looks fine and it's kind of cool, but like the original intent was for them to be symmetrical on both sides, but that obviously didn't work. Regardless, I like the way it looks, and I think it's cool that I have 2 distinct boxes for my to-do list and my routine. Of course, the sizes of the boxes are not specifically great for writing things out, but we'll see how it works out. And then for the Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, which is the 3, it's like across the halfway mark of the book. So I don't know how I'm going to work that one out, but I guess we'll see. Then of course I just write out a mini calendar, because I always have one of those, and then I used a silver acrylograph to write out any other details. In case anyone wants to go for this kind of spread, the top bar, each of the boxes or supposed boxes are 7 squares across, and then 1 gap in the middle, but that doesn't really account for anything. And then in terms of spacing for the top, I left about 2, 4, 6, 8 squares of lines. For week 2, I decided to stick with the whole minimal theme. That's just a general thing. For the whole of June, I'm sticking with a minimal theme. And I just wrote out the different days of the week. This time there is no to-do list, no routine box, because I wanted to try and see if I could just, operate through just, to-do lists every single day. So I'm going to figure that out. And of course I had this very lovely decoration on the top right, and I'm so in love with how it turned out. It's just very aesthetic and it's very minimal, and I just really love this page. I think it's still not the most minimal spread that I could get to, but I'm not sure how to have made it more minimal considering that I'm using blue lines like this. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with how this one turned out. For spacing here, the boxes where you can write in are about 12 by 12 squares across and down, so that way if you want to have any of the dimensions, there you go. And then for the added details, I just use a pencil to trace things out first, and then I go over it with my blue Crayola Supertip. Designing this next weekly was probably one of my favorite things to do this month because of the intricate design and the crossovers and the different lines. It was really interesting to design this page. And of course there is symmetry, and this time I actually got the symmetry right, and so everything just looks really well put together. The only thing I will say that I don't particularly enjoy about this spread is that it's a horizontal spread and not a vertical spread, and by that I mean that you have more space across rather than vertically, which means that I have to fill in things across the page either twice or fill them in once and then have less space, but then too much space on the side. I don't know if this makes sense. I'm going to insert 2 pictures here showing the difference between vertical and horizontal with writing in it so that you understand. But yeah, otherwise, apart from the fact that it's horizontal, I really did love how this spread turned out. To get the spacing right for the weekly spreads, for the different days of the week, I referred back to my grid spacing cheat sheet, which is at the back of my journal, which you can see right here. And I always have one of these in all of the journals so that I remember how far apart I need to space things so that they are even. I don't use this spread too often, and I need to adjust it again. I should have it in the front of my journal. It just makes more sense to have it in the front, but that will be for my next journal. After tracing out all the lines, I went in with my blue Crayola Supertip to add in a little square for each day, and then my silver Acrylograph so that I could add in the day of the week. For my final weekly of June, I decided to use a Dutch door. And so I just inserted a clip of me cutting out my Dutch door. I don't have any measurements so that I can figure out where to cut. I just kind of eyeballed it in this example. But yeah, it turned out really fine, and I just cut the top half of it so that I could use the top half as the decorative space in my journal. Usually I cut much closer to the seam or to the fold, but because this is a middle page and the binding was right next to it, I cut slightly further away because otherwise this page might fall out, and that is not the point, and we don't want that to happen. I then cut off part of the Dutch door again, leaving only one small little rectangle, and then I moved on to the actual design. As for the design for this weekly, I think it's definitely my favorite design out of all the spreads from June, because it's just so simple and very straightforward. So I split the bottom into 8 different columns, and then I used the top as a decorative space. So I wrote out June, and then I had beautiful lines leaving from June and in a very decorative kind of style. Then I just grabbed a pen, and I wrote out all the days of the week and a to-do list at the end. And this is basically what the spread looks like. And finally, let's move on to the flip through now. This has definitely been my favorite theme of the year so far because it's so simple, it was really easy, I didn't have to think too hard about it, and it looked so nice. So this one is my least favorite spread, but it's fine. Everything else looks really, really nice, and I'm very much happy with it.
This was the last month that I'm going to be having in this journal, in the Lemome Journal. So I'll be doing a review on this journal as well at some point, but in the meantime, I will be soon setting up my new journal, which is an Archer&Olive, and I'm really excited for it because it's such a beautiful journal and I just cannot wait to get into it. So stay tuned for both of those videos coming out very, very soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, or just interact with this with this video in general, because it really helps me out. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.